the preamble to the meeting. Excuse me. Firstly, what I'd like to do is 21031 to receive any apologies for absence. I don't believe there's been any.
There have been none sent to my email, and that was the address given.
Okay, thank you. Second item 21032 to note declarations of interest. Can I ask the other two councillors if they have any declarations of interest in any of the agenda items we're going to discuss?
No, I do not.
None from me, John. Councillor Sampson.
And I don't either. Open forum 21033. Any comments and questions concerning items on the agenda? There are a couple of long-winded items that I would like to ask a couple of the members of the public to make comment on, because they are more technically able. So if no one's got any objections to that, I would open questions now to the floor.
Roger Small has his hand up, Chairman.
And so does David Pinkham.
Okay, well, let's take, we'll do an alphabetical. David first, please.
Thank you, Chair. It's just a question. It's actually on Part B, but it's a question on Part B, and it's it refers to the agenda item 200314, which is being proposed to reinstate Ashley Kaminsky, the clerk of the council, back to his former position. Can you tell me, Chair, why Ashley was suspended in the first place?
Yes, I'm quite happy to do that. A councillor missed meetings from December 2019, and on taking advice from Cheshire East, they advised Ashley that a vacancy now existed in the West Ward due to self-disqualification rules. Councillors Cllr Tolver and Brewerton wanted Ashley to reinstate that councillor. However, Cheshire East Democratic Services instructed Ashley that it would be unlawful if he tried to do that. We had a meeting on Monday evening where it listed the employment committee meetings, and it's Councillor Burkle stated in there that in the employment committee meetings, that due to the seriousness of the concerns about the actions of the clerk and the fact that relationships had broken down, they suspended him. That was in November. November the 4th. Thank you, Sue. And they said that what happened is they had concerns, which councillors Moore, Sampson and myself haven't seen any evidence for. And they said that relationships had broken down. So they suspended him. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if a relationship between the parish clerk and perhaps the chair would break down if I had in error received an email which detailed, and this was back in the 25th of June, I think, if they received if Ashley received that email saying, how can we get rid of Ashley? Can we get a solicitor who specialises in employment law to get rid of Ashley so that they could bring this councillor back? Now, the fact that Ashley was instructed to do that, or tried to be instructed by the Democratic Services head, that you can't do it, he was stuck in a bind. So rather than go after the head of Democratic Services, the councillor seemed to go after Ashley, and they decided that it would be better to suspend him. That's a potted version. There's a lot has gone on, but that's hopefully a reasonably clear potted version for everybody.
That certainly clears it up in my eyes now on why this has happened. I do have several other questions, but I know that others want to ask questions, so I'll stand back now. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next question.
Roger Small.
Thanks, Chair. I want to comment on a number of the agenda items, and in each case, I'll be extremely brief. Item 6.
Sorry,
wish to
Roger. Roger,
Yeah.
can I just make a point? What if if you're allowed to speak as we get to the agenda item?
That's one of the things I'm going to ask.
Okay.
Item 6. I want to say that I support this item and wish to acknowledge the valuable input made by Alan Murdoch, Mike Bishop and Councillor Smith. Item 7. I support this item and wish to acknowledge that Alan Murdoch was the principal author and to acknowledge the valuable input also made by Councillor Smith. Item 8, and this is in response to your very recent question, Chair. I would like the Chair to invite my comments during the discussion of item 8 because there are a number of points to be made.
Yep, understood.
Item 9. In the belief that this item seeks to rescind the invalidation of the proceedings of the Planning and Environment Committee of the 10th of November 2020, this motion has my full support. Item 10. In the belief that this item seeks to rescind a motion that might be detrimental to the parish clerk and therefore to the financial well-being of the parish council, this item has my full support. Item 13. In the belief that this item seeks to rescind a motion that involved or led to the suspension of the parish clerk, this item has my full support. Item 14. This item has my strong support. In my view, this motion is long overdue for consideration. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Roger. Any more questions from the floor? Sounds like a no. Last
John,
chance.
yeah, one, just one.
Please, Alan.
There are a number of historic meetings where minutes don't seem to have been published on the parish council website, which makes it difficult when we're looking at the sort of motions that are put up tonight. Is it possible these could be published, if not on the website, then somewhere else where they could be accessed?
I agree, Alan. The website is atrocious. I don't know if you've looked on it recently, but it's very difficult to get around and it's not been done properly. If only we had a clerk available who might have been organising that. What I might suggest is that once we've got the minutes accepted, then we could try and add them to the either the parish council website or just publish them on one of the Handforth Facebook page. So then it's open for everybody.
I think somewhere would be helpful.
Yeah, on the maybe the
If it's
Handforth
not on
community or Handforth News, and they can be repeated and people can pass them on at will, but obviously only once those minutes have been agreed.
Yep. So a second question. Has the budget and the precept now been accepted by Cheshire East? It was put at a previous meeting.
I spoke with the head, the guy who actually does the job, a guy called Lawrence at Cheshire East. He passed me on to an individual who was able to confirm that they received the required paperwork from ourselves before Christmas, and that the precept work as required was going through, and that it was acted on in mid to late December, I believe. So yes, as far as you're concerned, the precept is, I'm told, on its way and has been accepted.
Peter Paul, Chairman.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Yes,
John,
Peter.
yeah, it's a very quick one, just a bit of background for other people. since Tolver is head of the controlling group, 3 people was 4. Since May of 19, they've done nothing for the people's village. The pandemic, they've done nothing. They blocked meetings. It was down to the 3 councillors present here to actually do things about the pandemic, prescriptions, shopping, and what have you, through Cllr Smith. And they became very exercised when they lost one of their members through their own incompetence and arrogance, quite frankly. She was held to court, but she can't be brought back. And they realised in May they will lose control. That's the essence of their actions.
Okay. Anybody else have any points or questions to make regarding this evening's meeting? No? Okay, we shall move on. Item 21034, to approve and sign the minutes of the Handforth Parish Council meeting of 10th of December 2020. Councillors, if you have your copies of the minutes
Yep.
in front of you, I'll move through them by page. Page 1, any queries or points?
None.
None.
Thank you. Page 2,
None.
None.
thank you. Page 3,
Yes, there's one, it's just a spelling error at the top of on motion 2016-6, which says financial, it should be year budget.
and it says yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was typed by a pirate. Okay, and final page.
None.
None.
Thank you. Declare those minutes approved. Thank you.
We have a vote,
2103. Sorry?
We need a vote to approve.
I
them.
beg your pardon. Miles away. Yep. Can I have a vote to accept those, please?
I'll propose.
I'll
Thank you.
second.
Thank you. Vote in favour.
In favour.
In favour.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, 21036, motion to agree the submission to the local transport plan
You've missed one
consultation
out.
objectives.
John,
Pardon?
you've missed one out. 2035.
Beg your pardon. Motion to approve and sign the order of payment accounts for January 2021. Anybody
Chair,
got any queries? Yes?
Chair, I'd just like to make a comment about the last payment authorisation we gave was for a donation to Hope Central of £5,000. Do we know when that's going to be paid over? Because we're in the middle of another lockdown and I wouldn't want anybody in Handforth to be suffering.
Yep, I fully agree, Cynthia. It was approved at a previous meeting. So should the clerk be in a position, subject to whatever happens later in the meeting, to make that payment, then we can be asking him to do so. It's been approved. So
Okay.
I would look to make sure that that payment is issued as soon as is possible.
Thank you.
Chair, I have a query on the order of payments. The Greener Handforth web hosting is £12. I thought it was a lot less than that.
Normally £2.
It's got 12 on here. Is that a typing error?
Possibly. What I'd suggest is that we accept it because it's only a minimal amount. We accept it with a possible correction.
Okay, fine.
Can I have a
Do we-
seconder to accept, a proposer to accept?
Can I just make one more comment, Chair, please?
Certainly.
Do we know if there are any outstanding checks that we really need to pay in order to keep Handforth Parish Council out of the debtors' court?
My understanding is that most of the payments are automated. There are a couple that are checks, but are not critical at the moment.
Okay, because I do understand that the acting parish clerk, Cllr Tolver, has asked the clerk that's suspended, Ashley Kaminsky-Dawson, for a checkbook.
Well, he can't,
It's not
he's
allowed.
been, sorry,
Sorry, Chair, can I just jump in there? That's not
Please do.
allowed to the regulations, because although the clerk is suspended, he's still the responsible responsible financial officer, and therefore it is not possible for him to pass over any of the financial matters concerning HPC until such time as he is dismissed.
Okay, thank you.
understood. Okay, so have we had a proposer for the,
Yeah, I'll propose.
thank
I'll
you.
second.
Okay, can I have a vote in favour, please?
In favour.
In favour.
Yes, in favour. Unanimous. Thank you. Item 2136, to agree the submission to the local transport plan consultation objections for Handforth. And this is the one that Roger said he would like to make a very brief contribution. Is it Roger? Is there a Roger in the house?
Yes, there is. He's just grappling with the unmute button.
Okay, thank you.
I have no real comment to make other than what I reported earlier this evening. Although, having said that, I would like the Parish Council to know that on behalf of the Friends of Handforth Station and on behalf of the Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group, I attended the meeting last week of the Northern Area Planning Committee, and the item on their agenda that particularly caught my interest was the proposed plans for the Handforth Station car park. Now, this project is part of a much larger scheme in which Cheshire East Council, Handforth Parish Council, the Friends of Handforth Station, Northern Trains and Network Rail have agreed that the station shall be equipped with a pair of lifts. There will be a station car park with parking for the disabled. There will be a new pedestrian crossing across Station Road, with the ultimate objective that disabled persons can park safely near the station, can cross Station Road safely, and then access the platforms on the station by means of the proposed lifts. Now, at that meeting, there was Ward Councillor Barry Birkhill, and he addressed the committee, and I became concerned about what he was saying. The first error that he made was to claim that no parking study had been carried out. The second error that he made was to allege that the visibility display on the entrance to the car park was not great enough. That was debunked by a member of the Highways Committee who pointed out that visual displays were calculated not on the volume of traffic going past an entrance, but on the speed of that traffic. And they then went on to say that the visual displays were adequate. Right at the end of his speech, Councillor Birkhill proposed that the discussion of these proposed plans, these draft plans, should be deferred. Anyone listening to his presentation would think, I think if they were fairly naive, that he was against the development of the station car park. And I would like the Parish Council here assembled to challenge him on that point, to write and say, what were you trying to say at that meeting? Are you against the station car park, or is it just the way that you express things?
I must say, Roger, that I was observing the actual meeting, and as soon as he started talking, I felt that he was against it. And there are others who have felt the same way. And we're baffled as to why that would be. That on the one hand, in 2019, he was expressing how he had contributed towards the station getting its lifts, and full knowledge of a plan of car park within walking distance, easy walking distance, of the bus turnaround spot. And yes, he seems to have gone through 180 degrees.
If anybody cares to check what I've just said, of course, the meeting is still on the Cheshire East website and you can listen to it in its entirety.
Roger, I'm sure that people will be beating a path to it immediately to listen to it, I'm sure.
Chair, could I make a comment, please?
Certainly.
The only comment I've got about the transport is the fact that they've got all the things wrong about the bus service in Handforth.
Yeah, can I make a comment on that, Cynthia?
Yes. Yeah.
There has been an email sent, I found out, from Craig Brown to, amongst other people, Cllr Tolver as chair of Handforth Parish Council, regarding wanting to arrange a meeting to discuss buses in Handforth. And we haven't been made privy to that. For some reason, the chair has decided not to pass on that information, in the same way as another couple of Cheshire East initiatives which haven't been passed on in the last 6 or 8 weeks for us to attend a Zoom meeting on a couple of subjects. I'm afraid it's par for the course that the three councillors here this evening currently have been kept out of a number of loops, which, yes.
Can I just respond to that?
Sure.
It's very important that we have a bus service in Handforth. There are a number of people in Handforth that are over the age of 65 that don't drive and they rely on buses. And for the one that's operational at the moment, I understand from Craig Brown that he's going to be asking Handforth Parish Council for a contribution towards a bus service. Now, if it's benefit to the residents of Handforth, yes, I would advocate that, I would support that. But if it's just going to go back to Cheshire East to be used elsewhere, no.
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
Can I just ask if I can ask Ward Councillor Smith to make a statement?
Hi, it's obviously in regard to the buses. I've been invited to the meeting that Craig Brown is trying to set up with Handforth Parish Council. I spoke with Craig last night and he stressed that it's important that this meeting take place sooner rather than later, because any funding that is agreed has to be in place by the end of April, because that's when the money for the existing bus service is likely to run out. So something needs to be agreed, otherwise we're going to be in the same position as we've been in a number of times over the last few years, where we're not going to have a bus service. And it's not acceptable to be in that position, because there are people that rely on the bus. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we'll take from that we need to get in touch with Craig Brown ourselves and
Definitely
make sure that we get some sort of representation in front of him. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Could I ask the clerk just to make sure that we've got that down as an action for the councillors? In fact, put it down as an action for myself, please. Are you still here, Jackie?
Sorry, yes.
Yeah. No worries. It's been very quiet.
Chairman, I was nodding very vigorously.
Okay, thank you.
I'll shout out next time.
Chair, may I speak about this transport objective, please?
Certainly, yes.
I would just like to thank the authors of this because it is a very comprehensive document. I've read it through a number of times. I can't think of a single thing that I could possibly want to add to it. Obviously, the bus service is a bit of a consideration, but that hopefully will be resolved in the fullness of time. But thank you very, very much to our very dedicated residents who put this together, because it isn't something that's been written on the back of a fag packet in 10 minutes. It's a very comprehensive document that's taken a very long time. So thank you, Roger, Alan, John, and Mike for putting that together. It's very well, much appreciated.
I would point out that the vast majority is Alan and Roger. I should say that. Yes. Okay, so can we have a vote on that? Sorry, a proposal?
I'll propose it, John, subject to the bus with Craig Brown.
And I'll second it, subject to the same amendment.
Okay, those in favour?
In favour.
Thank you. Unanimous. Thank you. 21037, motion to adopt the submitted Handforth car parking report. Now, what I would say is that I believe that we do need the car parking report. I believe, though, that there's a couple of elements in there that I'm not 100% with, which I've spoken with Alan and Roger about. I'm not sure whether we do it in this forum or take it outside. One of the things is the element of parking permits, where a number of the parking permits, because some of the funding will be coming from Handforth Garden Village, some of the parking permits spaces will be allocated to people on the Handforth Garden Village. Something like, I think, 50 out of 115. There are about 10 disabled, I believe, 8 motorbikes and 36 cycles. My concern is that if the Handforth Garden Village have 50, and then other people from the Garden Village have the other 40, then people who live at one end of Handforth don't have a means of parking the car near the station. Like someone who lives down the bottom end of Clay Lane, who might not be able to walk very well, but needs to get to work every day by the train, which is what we're trying to get people to do, to stay off the roads with cars, is I wouldn't like to see a two-tier system. I don't know what other councillors feel about that.
Chair,
Yes.
The Garden Village are going to be promoting that when they sell their properties, that they will have, if you purchase a property on the Garden Village and you want to travel by train elsewhere, you will be granted a parking permit. Well, like you've just said, that puts the residents of Handforth, who've maybe been here for many, many years, at a disadvantage.
I agree. That's the issue that I have with it. The problem is that there are going to be many hundreds of properties on the Garden Village. 50 is not going to go a long way. No. I'm concerned that they might say, well, we need 75, we need 80, or whatever it is. And does it count if it's a dwelling that is a 1-bedroom flat? You don't get one, but if you've got a 4 or 5 bedroom house with a number of cars, then you do get one. I don't know how it would be managed and operated. Perhaps we need to have a discussion outside this meeting, because I think it's something that it needs more time applying to it, rather than trying to get an answer now in a general meeting.
Can I just make one more comment, please, Chair?
Certainly, yeah.
I'm also concerned that Cheshire East are going to get the parking fees. Now, I understand that they were going to be letting town and parish councils take over the car parks. And I'm just a bit perturbed that it's going to be managed by Cheshire East and they're going to get the money. And yet at the detriment of Handforth, we're really not getting any more car parking spaces. And the bus that's going to come from the Garden Village can only be used by the people from the Garden Village. What's the point of that if they don't have a car parking space?
Alan's shaking his head.
Yeah, can I speak?
Yeah.
I think
Yes,
you're
please.
talking there. I think you're talking there about details of the management of the park and ride scheme. The car parking survey and report that we've done is more in terms of general usage around Handforth rather than specifics. And I think all these details will come out within the arguments about the Garden Village and the use and the management of the car parking car park as if and when it happens.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, can I just make one last comment, please? Yeah,
Yes, please.
I agree with everything the two of you have said so far. But the thing I'm a little more concerned about is the actual number of disabled parking spaces. The whole point of this car park and this project and everything else was being that we get disabled access. Well, a lot of the point of it for disabled access for people for the station. And I don't actually think that 10 disabled parking spaces is quite enough in this allocation. So I think you're quite right. I think it needs to be taken somewhere else for a separate consultation.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree with that, Sue. Okay, thank
Chair,
you.
may I make a comment, Chair?
Please do.
It's a fact of life that the Garden Village, through S106 payments, will pay for just under half of the proposed station car park. And it's a condition of theirs that they will only do so if they have that reserved 50 spaces for residents of the Garden Village. We know that Cheshire East are virtually devoid of cash. We had that thrust down our throats during the meeting about revitalisation of the village centre. The first thing that the Cheshire East representative said there is that don't hold out any hopes at all that we have a pot of cash to wazz up the centre of Handforth, because we don't. And the same is true with regard to the building of this station car park. If you say no to 50 spaces reserved for the residents of the Garden Village, then you're saying no to virtually half of that car park.
Yeah.
Is that true, Alan?
Yes, pretty much so. That's where the funding is going to come from. And the rest of it will probably have to come from parish council funds or SIL money or generated internally, locally.
So if there was that SIL money, which is going to be a considerable amount, we may be in the position, I don't know, it's obviously we don't know what and when it might happen, but whether or not we could, the parish council could have more of an influence on that, usage of that SIL money.
This, Chair, this will come under further discussion, I think, under item 8.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so we are agreeing to adopt the car park report, but I think it needs more discussion. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yes. Yes, I think so.
Okay. Well,
If we're going to have further discussion, can I recommend that we invite Alan Murdoch and Roger Small to the working group, because they're far more informed than we are, even though I've read the document. I think they have more expertise than myself, for instance, although I look at it from a more personal note, I don't drive, and I'm thinking about other people. It's not just about car parking. There's other issues that we need to maybe look at, but that doesn't come under the car parking report.
And then perhaps we can review and ask residents, and Alan was concerned about this survey, so we'd need to revisit that as well. Would we not?
Yeah.
Well, this needs to be in by the 31st of January, or we'll miss the boat. So could I suggest that we submit it as it is, with some kind of follow-up?
Caveats.
Yeah, about in relation to the management of the car parking at the station.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Agreed.
We can amend. We can put a second paragraph into that effect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, agreed with that. Can you make sure we've got that noted, please, Jackie? And flag up that we need to get it off before the 31st of January. Can I speak with Roger and Alan afterwards about that? About make sure that we've got it in the format that you're happy for it to go.
Yep.
Gents? Yep. Okay, thanks very much. Can I have a proposal for that, please?
I'll propose it.
And I'll second it, subject to the discussion that you're going to have with Alan Murdoch and Roger Small. And
Yep.
I'd also like to thank them for the work they have put into that.
Yeah, and we'd also want yourself and Sue involved.
Okay,
Listen, yeah.
thank you.
Okay. And all in favour?
I'm in favour.
In favour.
Unanimous. Okay, 2138 motion to consider reconvening the neighbourhood plan steering group, updating the neighbourhood plan and suggesting a project list. I'll take the point that has been mentioned to me that the neighbourhood plan steering group hasn't ever gone away, so it doesn't really need to be reconvened. I think perhaps we can ask Roger to speak on that.
Sorry for the pause, Chair. Again, wrestling with the controls on my machine here. Yes, indeed, the neighbourhood plan steering group has never formally been dissolved. What I'm about to say may sound very immodest, but in my view, the steering group has been continuously working for the benefit of Handforth residents. If you want evidence of that, then examine the comments passed on what I regard as planning applications of significance to the parish. I'm thinking of planning applications relevant to our two listed buildings, Dairy House Farm and Handforth Hall, the proposed development of the station car park, the proposed development of a BMW sales and service department to the rear of Marks and Spencer's, the proposal to turn Hall Road into a through road, and the proposed demolition of, and development of St Chad's Vicarage. The steering group has submitted informed comment on all of those applications. So the steering group has not been disbanded, and it's continued to work over the years for hopefully the benefit of the parish. Now, the second aspect of this is updating the neighbourhood plan. I'm not Alan, of course, is the deputy chair of the steering group, and I'm not sure that he and I see exactly eye to eye on this, but I think that updating the neighbourhood plan is an important job, and perhaps could and should be done before the end of its period of application. But I would like to suggest that that be delayed until such time as this parish council has sorted itself out and that the ongoing war between the two factions has been resolved for the better. And as far as suggesting a project list in priority order sourced from the neighbourhood plan is concerned, sure, there is a list of jobs or projects within the neighbourhood plan. That was compiled by consulting with the local residents, but it wasn't assembled in any order of priority. Now, we touched on the costs of the station car park. What we have to bear in mind is that the station car park is part of that larger project involving the lifts at the station, widening the footpath on Station Road, putting in the zebra crossing on Station Road, and building the station car park with all its various facilities. We're talking big money there. I've researched this a little bit, just very, very recently. Apparently, the tenure of number 1 of the carriages is freehold. So if Cheshire East Council wished to purchase the necessary strip of land to widen the footpath on the south side of Station Road, they will have to deal with the householder. I imagine, this is a figure I'm plucking out of the air, that the householder will want to sell off perhaps the strip of his garden at a price of over, let's say, £100,000. On top of that, there will be a big bill for building a retaining wall or buttress, if you like, to enable the footpath to be extended by a couple of meters into the garden of that house. And then there's the costs associated with the building of the car park. As we mentioned just a bit earlier, the Garden Village S106 monies are only going to provide the costs of building just under half the car park. But those costs are likely to be quite large. So Cheshire East have several large bills to meet: the purchase of the land strip from the carriages, the widening of the footpath by building the buttress or retaining wall, and building the just over half the car park. I've approached people in the know to try and give me some figures for those various tasks, and I'm still waiting a return on that. As soon as I know, I'll pass on to the parish council what the likely costs of those of that project is going to be. It is an important project because, as I said earlier, it's a scheme which represents the coming together, the working together of Cheshire East Council, Handforth Parish Council, the Friends of Handforth Station, and rail companies, the Network Rail and Northern Rail. It is a major project, and I think it deserves to come to completion within, hopefully, my lifespan. And so we have to bear that in mind. Those costs have to be met, and Cheshire East plead that they're bankrupt at the moment, and we may have to think about spending Cllr money on completing that project. And I'm not at all sure that the amount of Cllr money that's going to come pouring into Handforth is going to be all that great. We expect money to come in from the next store, which is being extended at the moment, from a parade of shops which are going up opposite the next store, and hopefully from the BMW development behind Marks and Spencer's. Those will probably be our first income of Cllr money. As far as the Garden Village is concerned, I'm far from sure that massive sums of Cllr money are coming in from there. I think Cheshire East are going to wriggle like mad and generate S106 monies, over which the parish council will have no control. I don't know whether I'd like Alan perhaps to comment on the veracity of those statements of mine.
Yeah, certainly on the last, I agree with you, Roger. The costs of developing the Garden Village are going up enormously, and I think they are going to be looking to recalculate the Cllr contributions, which they're entitled to do. I think it's 3 years after they were first set, so going to be before they start development. So I can certainly imagine them coming back pleading poverty and demanding a nil or a lower CIL contribution. So I wouldn't hold my hat on getting a huge amount from there.
Chair,
Yep.
I'd like to take Roger Small to task. Can I just say that neither myself, Cllr Smith or Councillor Moore are at war with the other 3 councillors. No, this isn't funny, Roger. This is very serious. I'm here to represent the East Ward and Handforth, and I have tried to do it openly, honestly and transparent, unlike the other 3 councillors that fail to attend meetings, overturn every single motion that we put forward. They will not listen at meetings. The monitoring officer has written to them. They've objected to listening to them. Cheshire East now have a barrister in place, and I've been interviewed with him. So have Councillor Moore and Councillor Smith. And I don't appreciate you saying we're at war. We're trying to run this council, just the 3 of us.
Cynthia, I accept that. You're doing wonderful work to keep the business of the parish council going. And the differences between the 2 factions in Handforth Parish Council at the moment, I don't find amusing at all. I found it a very sad situation, and it's one that I hope will be resolved so that the parish council can be seen to be completely functional once again.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Roger. Yeah, I think we need to move things along. So as far as we're concerned, we on the motion, we're saying that the group has never gone away. Sorry? Sorry, did someone just say something then?
No.
No? So where are we standing on this, Roger? That the neighbourhood plan is there, but we need to look at what we want to do from it.
Right on YouTube.
Is it? Sorry, have I gone mute?
Sorry, Chair, are you inviting me to comment?
Yes. Just a view of where we're going to leave this motion. Do we just defer for further discussion?
I think we should defer, Chair.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Should we defer for further discussion so we can have a more involved discussion when we've got less on the agenda of quite some large motions?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I propose to defer the motion.
I'll propose to defer.
I'll second it.
Can I have a vote in favour, please?
In favour.
In favour.
Unanimous. Thank you. 21039, special motion, rescission of the motion 21015. This was the declaration that the meeting of 10th of December was invalid. Which is unfortunate that we haven't got someone here to defend that declaration. As far as I'm concerned, and taking advice from the head of Cllr, that the meeting was fully lawful.
Correct.
Would that be correct, Jackie?
Absolutely, Chairman.
So, with no more ado, can I have a proposal to rescind that motion?
I'll propose it.
I'll second it.
I have a vote in favour, please.
In favour.
Unanimous. Thank you. And the 210310, rescission of motion 21025. This is the personnel and operational issues that were identified by the employment committee. which I'm just looking because the way that it's been put together is that it's difficult to specify the exact element that they were putting together. It was a very nebulous motion.
Correct.
With a couple of sub motions underneath it. I'm concerned that the majority of what they've done is to suspend Ashley, to then bring in at very short notice, without any previous information, a investigator to get the goods on Ashley. They haven't produced any evidence of what he's supposedly done that warrants this attention that they're paying to him and to suspension. So as far as I'm concerned, there are a number of issues that we don't want to go ahead, which are included in 21.3.10. I'll propose that we rescind that motion as is.
I'll propose.
I'll second.
Have a vote in favour, please.
In favour.
In favour.
Unanimous. Motion 21.03.11. The motion is to dissolve the Employment Committee. Does anybody have any comments they'd like to make on that?
Yes, Chair, I have the reasons why the Employment Committee should be dissolved. There's quite a lot of them, so I'll try and be as quick as I can. Number one, the committee has acted beyond its powers and its remit. The terms of reference are out of date, obscure and non-enforceable. The committee has never conducted a clerk's employment review. The committee has never conducted a clerk's pay review. The committee has suspended the clerk without ratification of full council. The committee has appointed Cllr Tolver to the position of clerk without ratification of full council. The committee has appointed Councillor Brewerton to the position of responsible financial officer without the ratification of full council, which of course is against the law. Committee has potentially committed Handforth Parish Council to a 3, possibly 5-year HR consultancy contract violating financial regulations regarding tenders. The costs are unknown as yet. None of us have seen the paperwork, but possibly £125 per month times a number of years. The committee has brought HPC to the attention of the Cheshire East monitoring officer for misuse of public funds, misfeasance, and to the brink of costly employment tribunal. They are going against a letter sent from the monitoring officer about this matter. If they continue, there could be grave financial issues for HPC. And lastly, second to last, they have refused to share evidence regarding the case with other councillors, the monitoring officer, the clerk, and many others, but will share it with a company that they have voted to employ at the expense of residents of Handforth to investigate the case against the clerk. And last but by no means least, they have shown no regard for employment law and have not instigated any disciplinary procedure. Those are the reasons.
Can I make a comment, Chair, please?
Please do.
Councillor Moore, thank you for that. However, I'd just like to let the public know that when Councillor Moore says they mean the Chair of the Employment, Councillor Barry Burkill, the Chair of HPC, Brian Tolver, the Chair of Finance and Vice Chair, Cllr Brewerton. I was a member of the Employment Committee and I have been excluded from any of these meetings that they have colluded with each other in order to get through and suspend Ashley.
Thank you, Cynthia. I would also advise that the clerk has made me aware that despite requests, copies of the alleged evidence that they have has not been forthcoming to him, his union, or the Cheshire East investigating barrister. And that goes without saying, nor to Councillor Sampson Moore and myself. When we spoke with them on Monday evening about this, about the evidence, They said, well, let's see yours. Well, you can't have evidence of something that hasn't happened. So the fact, as Cynthia said, they're happy to give it to this consultant, but not to members of the parish council. So can I have any more comments on that?
No.
No?
Chair, if we dissolve the employment committee, how are we going to operate if we have another comment from them to try and overturn what we've done? I don't want to be going down that path where we make a decision tonight, they call another extraordinary meeting in 10 days' time to overturn what we've agreed. We need the public to get involved in this, because the more the people know how Ashley, the parish clerk, is being treated, I think the better Handforth Parish Council will come out of this, because we've got to be open, honest and transparent.
And
Okay.
might I just add there that the parish clerk is quite happy for people to know, and he has emailed me today to say that he has no objection to the public knowing, and therefore there are no GDPR issues.
Okay. Anyone else need to speak?
Chairman, I wonder if it might be helpful just to comment and perhaps offering Councillor Sampson some reassurance about the.
Please do.
I mean, once the committee has been dissolved, only the council can set up another committee. So it cannot, like a phoenix, simply recreate itself. So hopefully that offers a little hope in that respect for the future.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you. Oh, yes, all I can say is we can only deal with what's in front of us.
Right.
So we're taking this step now. So can I have a...
Chair, before you take a vote, are we going to write to those 3 individuals to say that the employment committee is dissolved?
I think we should, yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
I agree.
Thank you.
Can I have a proposal?
I'll propose
I'll second.
And a vote in favour, please.
in favour.
In favour.
In favour, unanimous. And 21/3/12 to confirm the date of the next Handforth Parish Council meeting. Anyone got a diary?
Can we have it the 2nd Thursday in February, please?
Okay,
That would be the 11th, Chairman.
excellent. Thank you for that. Next meeting, 11th of February.
11th of February.
And could I request, if things aren't resolved by then, that we ask Jackie Weaver if she would be willing to clerk it under Zoom?
I would be very grateful if you would.
I would be willing, but I am not able.
Oh.
I'm doing interviews that night. I am available on the Wednesday night if that's any help.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
Wednesday the 10th?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Wednesday the 3rd.
No,
Sorry,
the 10th.
No.
the 10th, beg your pardon. Yeah, Wednesday the 10th.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now,
Thank you, Jackie.
I need a proposal about requesting the public to be, thank you for the public who've been this evening, and hope that what you've seen helps a better understanding of what happens on the Handforth Parish Council. The current part B is where there is elements of delicate nature, confidential, personal, which unfortunately the general public is not admitted to by our regulations. So I would thank you for your attendance. If you have any queries,
Just before you finish, John, can I just make a comment?
sure.
To all those members of the public that have attended tonight and haven't wished to speak, but maybe have a comment, if they wish to send a message to either myself, Councillor Moore, or yourself, John, we will be more than willing to try and resolve their question.
Yep,
Is that
quite happy
okay?
to do
May I
that.
just say something as well? And Roger wants to just jump in. I would like to say how wonderful it is to see so many members of the public here. And I would love to
Absolutely.
see this on every occasion, because the parish council is here for the residents of Handforth. And we don't know what you want unless you tell us. So that's part of our remit, is to try and engage more with our residents. And this is the way we hopefully will be able to do it. So please, please all come again. It was lovely to see so many faces. Thank you.
Agreed, Sue. And if any of the members of the public would like to make a comment on Facebook, then please do. If there's any queries, we'll certainly try and answer them.
Chair, I hope
Yes, Roger.
other members of the public will allow me to represent them in thanking Jackie Weaver yet again for agreeing to clerk this meeting.
Here, here.
Agreed?
Yeah, ditto.
Okay, thank you, Clark. Can you confirm when the members of the public are no longer in the meeting?
Yes, certainly. It'll take a people leave. It was a pleasure, Roger.
Thank you.
Now.
Thank you, Jackie. Tape's running. This is the part B of the HPC meeting of Thursday, the 21st of January. Part B, two motions. First one, 210313, rescission of motion 2013-03, which is, as we said earlier, 211303. Just let me find it. Yes, that was similar to previous motion, where there are a number of points in the original minutes that we actually brought to the attention of the Employment Committee on Monday. We are rescinding these because these are giving these information of why they suspended the clerk. I don't believe we need to go into any great detail. I think we've already done that. Would that be fair to say, Jackie?
Yes.
Chair,
Yep.
can I just make one comment?
Please do.
The minutes of that meeting had been redacted by Councillor Brewerton and amended, and they weren't the true minutes that David Naylor gave.
No, sorry, Cynthia, the meeting that we're talking about here is the one from the 4th of November,
Oh, I beg your pardon.
which is when
Sorry.
they suspended him.
Oh, can you scrub that, please, Jack? Right, I attended that. I wrote to Councillor Burkill and asked him to provide me with the evidence to support Ashley's suspension. And he said, unless I signed a confidentiality clause, I would not be in receipt of it. That is not in our standing orders. And therefore, I said, I am not attending this meeting because once again, the three of you have colluded and excluded me. Thank you.
Yeah, there was a number of elements of those minutes that we pointed out to them on Monday evening where there was errors, even one where they said that, let me find it. Yes, Councillor Burkill noted that at the meeting at 27th of August 2020, that full council had resolved to accept legal advice from this supposed barrister, and that the voting on the motion shows full acceptance. That is not true. When you look at the minutes of the 27th of August meeting on page 5 of 4, which is how they produced it, states that Councillors Sampson, Smith and Moore voted against the motion. And there are a number of other elements of that meeting that were incorrect that we brought to their attention. I'll be surprised if it does get corrected as we requested, but we can wait and see. There was also required to be ratifications of the Tolver acting as clerk and Brewerton acting as responsible financial officer. That didn't happen. We brought that to their attention as well, as with some other elements. So what I'm going to propose now is that we rescind that motion 2013-3, unless you have any other comments, councillors.
No comments.
No comment.
Okay, can I have a proposal, please?
May make a comment on that. First of all, I welcome the rescission of this decision, not least of which is that earlier in your comments you were talking about the need to protect Handforth Parish Council against future challenges, and you cannot have somebody on suspension from the 4th of November without giving them any information about the charge that is being laid against them. So your decision to rescind that is timely and welcomed.
Okay, thank you, Jackie.
Jackie, can you minute your comments there? Because I feel that there are times that they come back to us to say, she'd no right to say that, or John's no right to say that. I mean, I've had a discussion with Ashley, as I know that Councillor Moore and Councillor Smith have. And Ashley is just as much in the dark as us.
Yeah.
Is that not correct, Chair?
Yes, absolutely right, because they won't, well, we've seen it time and time again. The previous meeting with on the 10th of January, where you ask a question and you just get a blank look back. There's no attempt to even fabricate an answer. It's just a look as if I don't have to answer a question, which councillors don't, even if members of the public don't have to give an answer. They can just listen to the question and then carry on, which unfortunately isn't the way to engage with the people you're supposed to represent.
No.
And they've got it down to a fine art now that people just look at them and think, oh, he doesn't answer the questions, no point in asking. It was fortunate that David asked me the question tonight, because if he'd asked Cllr Tolver, then he might have just got a blank look.
Well,
all right, so
Okay.
can we have a vote in favour, please?
In favour?
I did ask for a proposal, didn't I?
Yes.
Yes,
Sue
thank you.
proposed, and
Okay,
I second it.
Thank you. And vote in favour, please.
In
in
favour?
favour.
Unanimous.
Yeah.
Thank you. And here's one that we've been waiting for a while for. Motion to confirm the reinstatement of Mr. Ashley Dawson to the office of Parish Clerk and responsible financial officer. Does anyone have any objections to this?
No, Chair, I can't wait.
None at all.
No?
And
Can't wait.
what I'd like to say is, I'd like to thank Jackie for all the emails she's responded to allay Ashley's fears. I'd also like to thank the barrister that interviewed us because he categorically stated that Ashley had not committed a misconduct.
Yep, totally agree with that.
And I'd just like to thank Jackie for all her support. And our membership of Chalk, if we're in charge, will be forever.
Yeah,
We will be
Tell you
forever
what,
in your debt.
as
Yeah,
I've said to Jackie before, we certainly get our money's worth, don't we?
Yeah,
And-
even if
and-
it's 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, and hopefully, Jackie, you won't have to use so much red ink on your replies to emails
Yeah.
dictating where he's got it wrong again. So I'd like to, we've got a proposal. Can I have a vote in favour, please?
Before we vote, John, are we going
Yep.
to formally write to Ashley to tell him he's reinstated?
Well,
Can we do that?
what I was going to suggest, Chairman, is that I will minute this
Yes.
so that it's a formal statement of his reinstatement, statement of his reinstatement,
Yep.
And that we will, of course, write to him with a copy of that minute. And it will make reference to the fact that the council is minded that although he was suspended on the 4th of November, nothing has been forthcoming since.
No.
And we consider this matter closed.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, if you could include that caveat that you put in the just then, Jackie, please.
You can then paste that and put that in the letter to him.
Please do.
Before we vote, John, does that mean Ashley could be back in post by Monday? Can we be that quick?
I don't see any reason why not. We can send the notification via email, can't we?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is that right, Jackie? We can send it via email?
Yeah.
Reassure him that it is minuted and that he'll receive a formal letter from you to that effect. But that, here's the heads up. We would very much like you to come back and start working as soon as possible.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I have a vote of those in favour?
We haven't had a proposal yet.
I thought we did.
I'll propose it.
I'll second it.
All in favour?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Anyone
No.
against?
No. Welcome back, Ashley.
Thank
Yes,
you.
welcome back. Can't wait.
And Jackie, without your help, I think we'd have gone, as Sue's comments are to hell in a handcart with HPC. And I'd like to thank you for being on board, but also I'd like to thank Sue more. This has been a baptism of fire for Sue. And I tried to persuade her to stand, and I said, oh, it's just a couple of meetings a month, nothing to worry about.
Yes.
And now she's having sleepless nights. She's doing so many emails and also trying to hold down a job in her company. So I'd really like to thank Sue, and I'd like to also thank John for giving me support, because I've known I've had to take a bit of a back step because of other issues that I'm having at home. But thank you both.
No problem. So we're all
Pleasure.
the same. We're all in the same boat here and all pulling in the same direction. So it's
And
only
living
what
on
we'd
this
expect.
road, living on
Pardon?
this road, we might need a boat tonight.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Thank
and
you.
again, thank you, Jackie. Okay, could you finish the recording element, please, Jackie?
Absolutely.
And tell